Okay, so now we're going to answer the next two questions of how do you add polynomials and how do you subtract polynomials. Let's first start with adding. Let's say we have negative 2x squared minus 3x to the third plus 5x plus 4. And we want to add that to negative 2x to the third plus 7x minus 6. Well, the trick here to do is you're just adding the like terms. So we have to figure out what terms are like between these. Well, let's just start by finding the term with the highest degree. If we look at here, the term with the highest degree is negative 3x to the third right there. And are there any x to the thirds over here? Definitely there are. So we need to bring these two together. So what's negative 3x to the third plus negative 2x to the third when we bring those together? Well, that turns out to be negative 5x to the third. Okay, let's move on to the next highest term. It looks like we have a negative 2x squared right here. Do we have any x squareds over here? Negative. So we'll just bring this one down as minus 2x squared. Moving on to the next one. Next we got the 5x. Positive 5x. Do we have any x's terms here? Oh, yes we do. So we got 5x plus 7x. That gives us a total of 12x. And lastly, we have this 4 that we have to add to a negative 6. Well, what's 4 plus negative 6? That's really just 4 minus 6. So we get minus 2 here. And that's how you add polynomials, by adding the like terms. Now, let's talk about how do you subtract polynomials. Well, there's a little trick I like to do at the beginning of this. Instead of subtracting them, let's add them, but we have to do something to add them. The key thing when you're adding them instead is you have to change this to addition. And then for the second polynomial, this one right here, for this one, not for the first one, don't do it for the first one, you got to change the sign of each term to be the opposite of what it was. So instead of subtracting, we're going to add negative 3x to the third plus 5x squared plus 2x plus negative 8. Okay? So let's go through the same process that we did in the last problem. Okay, we'll start with finding the highest degree. Well, in this situation, I got negative 6x to the third, that's the highest degree here. And I got 3, or negative 3, sorry, x to the third here. When we bring those together, I got negative 6x to the third plus negative 3x to the third. That's negative 9x to the third. Okay, let's move on to the next one. We got this negative 6x squared. Are there any x squareds over here? Oh, there are. So we got a 5x squared. So I got negative 6x squared plus 5x squared. Well, that's, what is that? Negative 6 plus 5. That's negative 1x squared. You don't really need the 1 there, but I'll just put it there for now. Let's move on to the next one. We got 7x plus, is there a, yep, there is an x term over here, 2x. 7x plus 2x, that just gives me 9x. And lastly, but not leastly, hopefully you guys can read this, this is in yellow. We got negative 1 plus negative 8. Well, if you have negative 1 and you add more negatives to that negative 1, actually 8, you should get negative 9. I'm going to write that in black. That's just hard to see. We've got negative 9. So our polynomial, once we subtract them, is negative 9x to the third minus x squared plus 9x minus 9.